Namaskar. Today we are going to discuss about the theories of international relations, and it's an introductory presentation. We'll engage the different theories of international relations. We'll start with the original theory of international relations, that is realism, and its advancement, that is neorealism. The traditional theory of liberalism and incorporation in that liberalism, neorealism, the different type of critical theories like Marxism, neo-Marxism in the context and relevance of the international relations. Will engage discussion on the feminism, different traits of the feminism, critique of realism by feminist theorists. We'll discuss about the green theory also, ecologism and environmentalism, the different aspects like climate change and different issues, burning issues, which are very much relevant and contextual in the present context. We'll discuss about some more aspects of the theories like constructivism, world system theory, in which there are the different analysis of core, periphery, and subsidiaries, the different states, how they are interlinked through economy, and the mode is simple economy and based on exploitation. The analysis by different theorists, most of them are critico-orientalist, like Edward Said, like Samir Amin, like Wallerstein, and will engage some more aspects which are relevant to theories of international relations in our today's discussion. We'll start with the realism. If a student of political science, international relations, global politics, national security, or some other disciplines of social sciences like history, geography, sociology, anthropology, psychology, you must have, in one way or the other, these theories are contextualized like realism, neorealism, liberalism, neoliberalism, and critical theories. In the realist theory, our approach to analyze the world system in such a way that we analyze and critically, when we reach to the nuances of the findings, we find that the globe is not based on the cooperation. The main motive is security and survival. And the key players are the sovereign states. The main problem in the international relations that there is no a central authority or the authority that can control the entire globe. Every state are sovereign. They are independent. So they have their own national interest. It is based on their self-interest, and they are driven by the power. They are power seekers. So if they are power seekers, it is the main motive is to power aggrandization. Every nation wants to be more powerful, and the country which is more powerful, they are better access for the resources. Means this relation is based on power aggrandization, at the same time materialistic approach. So in the realism, we analyze the entire globe. At the same time, the main core tenets of the international relation is power, at the same time nation interest, security. Security are two types, that is controlled by defensive and offensive. In the defensive, they usually try to be protected, and in the offensive approach, they would like to aggrandize their power, and the different security instruments like arsenals, they aggrandize, they enhance, and that resulted into a arms race that happens different tenure of our world history. And the recent example is during the Cold War, after the World War II, there were two poles, and in the two poles, the bipolar world, one was led by erstwhile USSR, socialistic approach, and other was led by capitalist leader, that was USA, United States of America. And other countries, they are following them. So during the Cold War, there was arms race also, and you must have heard about and read the Second World War ended with the bombardment of Japan, and nuclear bomb was invented. It was found that if this arms race or nuclear war, if it is initiated in days to come, this arms race, if there is no deterrence, any point of time, they are so powerful, especially the nuclear arsenals, that they are enough to destroy the entire humanity. So these two aspects, defensive and offensive realism, that is a part of neorealism, and Kenneth Walls and Mashima, the two theorists, they are the proponents of these two types of realism. The realism came into being due to the challenge to the idealistic approach of liberalism. They believe in the cooperation, that the entire globe, the global or the world system, that is based on cooperations, and through cooperations, through interdependence, the world will run. The other theory of world system that come in the critique of these two traditional thought of our schools, because these schools always talk about their own components and try to prove all the happenings, events of the globe in that serial manner. They try to encompass through their own definition the components and factors. But that was not enough. The analysts joined later, and they try to analyze and come with the nuances with their own perspective and approaches, like Marxian approach in the international relations, neo-Marxian approach, at the same time feminist. They find that the power is completely imbalanced, and the Montesquieu sixth principle, which was critically analyzed by different feminist theorists, they came with the analysis and findings that the society, as the society is patriarchal in nature, especially traditional society, in the similar fashion, the global setup or global system is also highly patriarchal, male chauvinistic, because all the decision makers, they are male. Most of them are male. Even the plum post or the chief or CEO of the different companies, they are also at the aplomb, they are male. So they are biased, and they take decision in their own mindset. And female, they are either marginalized or they are minorities, and they are not visualized. So there is a need of gendering the entire global system, global politics, through the approach, through the lens, through the vantage point of the female. That we will also analyze in this discussion. Interdisciplinary nature of the international relations, you have already well aware that IR integrates politics, economics, sociology, law, and history. I would like to differentiate between international relations and international politics. International politics that discusses about the politics among the nations. That is not enough for the international relations. International relations discusses about the relation between the countries, nations, states, at the same time non-state actors as well. At the same time, we will engage some regional organizations also, international organizations like United Nations and organizations like the SAARC, EU, African Union, OPEC, these organizations also play very crucial, prominent role at the international arena. The key actors in the international relations are nations and non-state actors. And the emergence of international relations discipline, that was a phenomenon of World War I. You must have heard about Carr, and Carr had written about the crisis of First World War and the demise of League of Nations, the economic financial crisis of 1929, and that impacted the entire world. So he tried to come with some solution for it. So in the post-World War era, IR was originated to come with some substantial solution that the same type of world war couldn't happen in days to come. But the World War II challenged the idealistic approach of the thinkers between the First World War and Second World War, and it happened. The main reason behind it, realized by and analyzed by the realist thinkers, maybe power realization, maybe polity of different powers, that is also maximization of differences that bring the differences among the nations, and the states again fought the Second World War. A great theoretician of post-Second World War, that is Hans Magentu, he came with a book, and that is very much discussion about the realistic approach. You must have heard about the Hobbesian and Machiavellian approach of international relations or the politics, that the state is nasty, brutish, self-centered, and the center, the core principles of international relations is self-organization, or based on the organic values of the human nature. It's a human nature that by nature human being is very much selfish, nasty, and non-cooperative, self-interested, self-aggrandizer, power seeker. In the similar fashion, it's a replication. The world system is also a replications, and nations among the world, they also are of the same nature. They are power seeker. They are driven by their own self-interest or nation interest, and they go for the security and survival. So Magentu's ideas was the proponent of establishment of founding the core values of international relations theory, that is realism. That was improvised by a leading scholar who was Kenneth Walls, and he was famous for neorealism. And his contemporary John Mearsheimer, he came with a critique of realism or improvisation, that was offensive realism, that it is not possible that all our country are defensive in their approach. Most of the country, they are power organizer, and they ultimately lead to the arms race. So that problem creates offensive realism, the very much part and parcel of scientific realism or neorealism. So Kenneth Walls, in his book, he discussed about the improvisation of realism, and he focused that the global system or scientific realism, the state is anarchic in nature. The state, due to this, there is no central authority. The state usually compete among themselves, and that leads to a type of chaotic situation at the international level. And our his approach was defensive, that in the long run that it will help to resolve the problems, but it was not so. Mortimer criticized the defensive approach, and he tried to try to inculcate and bring out the ingrained values of self-driven competition for gaining the moon power. That is power maximizer. All the states of the globe are. So, security dilemma, power maximization, survival, polity, these are the basic tenets of neorealism as well as defensive and offensive realism. Now switch to liberalism. That is, those values are very much part and parcel of traditional approach. And in the liberal values, it was a traditional value that was critique or that was antagonistic to the realism. It emphasizes on the cooperative nature of the human being, that the same cooperative nature that reflects in the international system in the long run. So the anarchy at the global stage, but they will foster peace. The ultimate goal of all the nation is to bring peace among all the nations. So the liberalist approach is cooperative, and that ends to the peace. And the main theorists are Robert Cohen, Joseph Nye. Joseph Nye, he comes with another approach, that is soft power diplomacy. In soft power diplomacy, we can find that states they're not always aggressive in nature. Through their culture, through their traditional value or innate principles, they try to attract or enchant the other states and go for exchange of inherent values that will help in interaction between the two or more than two states. So the main core value of international relations, according to the liberalists, are cooperations and the perpetual peace. So that is based on the interdependence. Like human being, when they reside in society, the core nature of the human being is cooperation, and the human beings in a society, they are interdependent. In the similar fashion, the nations of the world, they are also interdependent on one another. We will go for the critique of these traditional values or traditional principles, traditional theories of international relations, that is realism and neorealism. And the critique was from the different schools, like the Marxian schools, neo-Marxian schools, that the system or the interaction between the two states usually based on the exploitation. As Marx discussed about the class struggle, in the similar fashion, the states also have the competition, and the powerful states, the relation between the powerful states and the poor state or underdeveloped states or developing states, the relation is always based on the exploitation. In the similar fashion as the capitalist and the proletariat in the society, that the relation between both of them is based on exploitation. And the powerful country, they try to exploit the resources. And in the neo-Marxism also, in the present scenario, like Nkrumah and some other theorists, they came with the critique of recent development, that countries, they set free in the 20th century, but the relation is still intact, that is based on the economic exploitation. During the imperialism and colonization, there was power, and the imperialistic state, they rule the country, that was based on the power, that impact the different aspects like politics, economics, society, culture, every aspects of the colonized country or the subjugated countries, sub-Soviet countries. But that relation was changed into the exploitation on the basis of the economic. The powerful country, they are powerful, they have more economically viable, and the relation is based on exploitation, because these all powerful countries or the advanced countries, developed country, they try to exploit through investment and the free flow of their goods and services into the developing countries, and ultimately through technology and resources they gain the profit. So this profit making relations is fully based on Marxian approach of the relation of two countries or more than two countries, core and periphery. The relation is highly based on exploitation only. We go for different type of critique, like feminist critique, like Oriental critique, like system theory. In the system theory, we will study about the global system, the international system. They are interconnected entities and they are interdependent also. So there is a core and there is a periphery, and the relation between these two or more than two different states, like the core, they are enchanting in nature. They try to attract the core, the peripheries or semi-periphery states, and the relation is still based on the exploitation of the core values. In the similar fashion, we can go for some contrast between realism and liberalism debate. Realists focus on inherent conflict. Liberalists emphasized on the cooperation. They always seek peace. That is the ultimate goal through interdependence. But Marxian or the post-colonial approach, they criticize that interdependence is not the true value of this realistic approach that is based on exploitative nature of the system. In the same time, we discuss about globalization versus nationalism. The important or the powerful country, they always claims or always argues for globalization, and they argue for that the state should open their border and they flux their goods and services in the undeveloped countries, developing countries, and they make the different developing and the undeveloped countries, especially the South American, Afro-Asian countries of the global South, that they are fluxed with goods and services of the first world country, and the real profit making was done through this relation. So there is a nationalism and globalization debate. In the globalization, there is a free flow of goods and services, minimum taxation, and for the nationalistic approach, they go for a type of protectionism. Like India is a agriculture-based country, so if the government of India doesn't protect the interest of farmer and the goods and services of the other country, if they compete with our markets, our farmers, they are marginalized or they become subservient. Their goods are not sold in the market, and they couldn't manage to gain the right price, because in the many countries through the protectionism, there are high subsidy in the agriculture sector, even that is tax free also. So to protect the national interest, the country usually levy the taxes, and that is a protectionistic value for their own nation to protect their or the survival of a smooth going of lifestyle of agriculturist or the countrymen. In the same manner, there is a sovereignty and global governance debate in which there is tension between the state sovereignty and the global institutions. State sovereignty are compromised many times. You can realize the war was waged in the different parts of the world. Like the Central Asia, Iraq was bombarded, and it was completely washed off. At the same time, the ongoing war of Middle East, the war between Israel and Hamas, Israel and Iran, and the recent time, the aggrandization of power of different first world countries, and they are through block, they are try to minimize the interest of the country which are struggling with the powers. So there is some future direction also for the international relations, like post-Western international relations, influence of non-Western countries, they are growing and they are exerting the power. At the same time, we can find that some countries like China, that is challenging the power of powerful country of the world like US hegemony, and this challenge always in detrimental in this long run. We will discuss about the different scholars, theorists, and in this debate we discussed realism, neorealism, liberalism, and critical theories, Marxism,